welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to learn menstrual cycle. So what is menstrual cycle? Menstrual cycle refers to the changes in ovaries and endometrium. What it does to our body, it changes ovary and endometrium, and in the result it makes reproduction possible. So what is endometrium? So endometrium is thin lining of the uterus. Between them, in uterus, inside it there is a thin lining. We call it as an endometrium. Okay. So now, menstrual cycle. In menstrual cycle, endometrium binds, means thickens inside the uterus, and during the first day it shades out, which we call it as a menstruation, and we call it as a first day of a menstrual cycle. So actually, basically, menstrual cycle is consists of two phases. Number one is ovarian phase. Number one is ovarian phase. And number two is uterine phase. We also call it as a endometrium phase. Why we call it as a uterine phase? Because endometrium thickens and shade off in the uterus. So it changes into the uterus, changes occur into the uterus. That's why we call it as a uterine phase or endometrium phase. So there are two phases, ovarian phase and uterine phase. So ovarian phase. What happens in ovarian phase? So in ovarian phase, the ovaries focus on producing oocyte. In ovarian phase, ovaries produces an oocyte. Focuses on it centers the focus for the production of oocyte. And what happens in uterine cycle? So it focus on thickening the endometrium layer and shading it down during the menstruation. So there are two different phases which is related with each other, and there are two different processes. In one process, ovary released to the uterus oocyte, and the second phase in which the endometrium thickens and shade down. Clear? Now, when menstruation starts, first day of menstruation, we call it as a menarche. You all know that first day, when the first time menstruation occurs, we call it as a menarche. Then the process continues. Okay, this is the first time when menstruation period occurs. And at the end we call it as a menopause. During this, menstruation cycle continues. Menstruation cycle only stops when pregnancy occurs. Otherwise, it will continues each and every month. So now you guys are thinking, what are the days for menstruation cycle? So an average day of menstruation cycle is 28 days. It's an average day for menstruation cycle. It varies to person. In a different person, the day number is different. It varies between 20 to 35 days. But usually an average number is 28. But it varies in 20 to 35 days. Okay. Now, clear this one? Menarche, when when first time menstruation occurs, and menopause, it's when menstruation stops. And in between, the menstruation cycle occurs in every month. Now next topic is when menstruation cycle start. So menstruation cycle start for the first day of menstruation, or a period in a normal language. First day of menstruation, we call it as the first day of menstrual cycle as well. Okay? And then there is ovulation. Now what is ovulation? So ovulation is a process. Ovulation is a process in which ovaries generates oocyte. Ovaries generates ovum or the oocyte. This is called as ovulation. Now this happens in 14th day of the cycle. Usually it happens on the 14th day of the cycle. This is called as ovulation, in which ovary generates ovum. Clear? Now through the ovulation, so before the ovulation and after the ovulation, there are some hormonal changes occurs into the body. That's why menstrual cycle is divided into two parts. The one is before the ovulation and the other one is after the ovulation. So before the ovulation, we call it as a pre-ovulatory phase, and after the ovulation, we call it as a post-ovulatory phase. So we all know that ovulation occurs at the 14th day of menstrual cycle. Ovulation occurs at the 14th day. So pre-ovulatory phase occurs between 1 and 13th day, and post-ovulatory phase occurs 15 to 28 days, and between that ovulation on a 14th day. So pre-ovulatory 1 to 13th and post-ovulatory 15 to 28. Pre-ovulatory, we also call it as a follicular phase. Why we call it as a follicular phase, we learn it further, but right now remember that pre-ovulatory phase is also known as follicular phase, and post-ovulatory phase is known as luteal phase. Okay, clear? Pre-ovulatory is known as follicular phase, and post-ovulatory phase is also known as luteal phase. Just remember the days, it divided according to ovulation. Now what happens in this phase? Let's learn it. So what happens in the pre-ovulatory phase means ovarian follicular phase. Okay, we have learned it is also called as follicular phase. So what happens in this? So the process is little typical. Please pay attention. So what happens that during the progress of follicular to make it into a mature cell, mature oocyte, hypothalamus and pituitary gland works. Hypothalamus as a gonadotropin releasing hormone. Gonadotropin releasing hormone. Hypothalamus releases GnRH, gonadotropin releasing hormone. Next one, pituitary. So now what happens that this GnRH stimulates pituitary, and pituitary stimulate FSH. So GnRH stimulates pituitary and pituitary stimulates FSH and LH. FSH means follicle stimulating hormone, and LH luteinizing hormone. You have to remember this clearly that hypothalamus releases GnRH leading pituitary to stimulate FSH, follicle stimulating hormone, and LH luteinizing hormone. So next, how they works in our body, how they works in a immature follicle. Now, suppose this is ovary, right? And it has small, innumerable number of follicles. Now, this is one follicle I am describing. The outer layer which I am drawing right now is a theca cell. We call it as a theca cells. I am repeating it so you can remember it. Theca cells. Okay. This one. And in there is small cells. We call it as a granulosa cell. Granulosa cells. Clear about it? Theca cell and granulosa cell. Now this one, which is looking like nucleus of a cell, it is primary oocyte. That is primary oocyte. So this one wholly, which consists of primary oocyte, theca cell and granulosa cell, it is known as follicle. And in follicular phase, we are going to learn that what changes occur in this follicle which makes it oocyte. Clear? So now this theca cells, I am removing this one. Now this theca cell will make receptor for luteinizing hormone. This theca cell, which looks like that, if we zoom it makes receptor. Which receptor? Luteinizing hormone receptor. Luteinizing hormone receptor. And this granulosa cell, which looks like that, it also make receptor, but it will make receptor for FSH. So follicle stimulating hormone receptor is made up by granulosa cell. Follicle stimulating hormone receptor made up by granulosa cell, and the luteinizing hormone receptor is made up by theca cell. There is one key. You can remember it like thela Most of the time we confuse about that receptors. That's why I made that key. Thela means theca. Theca makes receptor for luteinizing hormone thela, and granulosa cell graph makes receptor for FSH, follicle stimulating hormone. This should be very clear right now. Only then we can move further. So this is the follicle, consists of primary oocyte, theca cell and granulosa cell. This theca cell makes the receptor for luteinizing hormone, And this one, granulosa cell, makes the receptor for FSH, follicle stimulating hormone. You can remember it as theta graph. Okay, so this should be clear. Now, when luteinizing hormone combines with the theca cell, it releases something. It responds something. What it is, we are studying in the next part. And when FSH combined with granulosa cell, it also releases something. Now, what it is, I am describing it. Now, when theca cell combines with luteinizing hormone, it releases androstenedione. Androstenedione. Okay. The name is something typical. Androstenedione. You have to clear it in your mind. Okay. Now granulosa cell. When granulosa cell combines with FSH, it also releases something, and it is aromatase. You can remember it as aromatic, so it releases aromatase. Theca cell releases androstenedione, and this granulosa cell releases aromatase. Okay, so now we have two end products, androstenedione and aromatase. Now this two combines and works on a theca cell. It's some little bit typical. This two combines and works on a theca cell, which is outer layer of follicle. And works on a theca cell, which is outer layer of follicle. And how it works? It makes the outer layer 17 beta estradiol. Okay, so androstenedione and aromatase works on a theca cell, which makes theca cell 17 beta estradiol. This was the first phase. Okay. Now this occurs, this whole process of changing theca cell. You will see clearly. So what happens in this is changing of theca cell. For changing theca cell, it produces this two and changes theca cell into 17 beta estradiol. Now this whole process of changing this occurs between 1 to 10 days, only 1 to 10 days. Okay, and follicular phase has 1 to 14 days. So what happens in next 10 to 14 days? What happens in next 10 to 14 days is granulosa cell develops androgen. What happens into next days? Granulosa cell. Now what happens when theca cell changes into 17 beta estradiol? It grows and it generates hormone, estrogen hormone. It changes into 17 beta estradiol and it generates androgen hormone. Okay. Now this is ovary and there are lots of primary oocyte which generates this androgen. Now this androgen works as a negative feedback. This androgen works as a negative feedback and stop pituitary to stimulate FSH. This androgen goes into the bloodstream. Now, through the bloodstream, it reaches to the pituitary gland in the brain and stops it to release FSH. Now, there are lots of follicle which needs FSH for their growth, but they can't able to get it because pituitary is not secreting it. That's why they will die. But there will be one cell, only one cell, which has the most FSH, which has the more FSH will grow and become oocyte. Okay, so and this oocyte will be released, and this, when the oocyte will release, we call as ovulation. So this was the first phase. We call it as a ovarian follicular phase. Now the second phase. Now what happens that the follicle which has most FSH will grow and release androgen. It continue to release androgen. Now, for the first time that androgen will be released, it works as a negative feedback. But this time, when androgen releases, it works as a positive feedback. So that's why pituitary stimulate more FSH and LH. And through this more FSH and LH, ovulation occurs. For the first time when androgen releases, it works as a negative feedback. Second time it works as a positive feedback. And due to more FSH and LH, oocyte releases. Now, second process. Now, what will happen next? That after 14th day, luteinizing hormone's level decreases, and the granulosa cells also reacts to the low level of luteinizing hormone. Okay, so because of low level of luteinizing hormone, granulosa cell reacts and secretes cholesterol side chain cleavage enzyme. So this is the long name: cholesterol side chain cleavage enzyme secreted by granulosa cell because of low level of luteinizing hormone. In short, we can also call it as a P450 SCC. P450 SCC. Now, this will destroy cholesterol and make it pregnenolone. You have to remember the names: cholesterol side chain cleavage enzyme, which leads cholesterol to change into pregnenolone. Okay. Now what happened? Because of pregnenolone, progesterone level increases, and because of this increasing number of progesterone, in the end, after the 14th day, granulosa cell will develop progesterone more than the androgen. Female mainly produces two main enzymes, androgen and progesterone. After the after the ovulative phase, luteinizing hormone decreases and progesterone increases. Progesterone increases in the number than the androgen. So next, what happens that granulosa cell will release more progesterone. So this progesterone works as a negative feedback. So because of this negative feedback, pituitary will decrease the level of FSH and LH stimulation. Now at the the same time, granulosa cell also stimulate inhibin. Now this inhibin will also works the same. It will also works as a negative feedback, which reduces FSH and LH hormone. In the end result, there will be decrease in androgen. Now this is for the first time when the progesterone becomes the dominant one. Now what happens together when we see that progesterone increases, and at the same time androgen decreases. So together when this process happens, uterus knows that ovulation occurred, because this process occurs only after the ovulation. So uterus will know that ovulation has occurred, and in that there is a spiral arteries. Now what will happen that now uterus know that ovulation has occurred. So he will be more hospitable to the sperms. It will be more welcoming to the sperm. So now the layer of uterus will secrete mucus. This mucus will be more hospitable, will be more accepting to the sperm. So what happens that this mucus will be more acceptable to the sperm. Now, if fertilization do not occur, this mucus will be thickened inside it and will be less hospitable or less welcoming or less acceptable towards the sperm coming inside it. Now, what happens that over the time, corpus luteum changes into the corpus albicans. Now what happens that corpus luteum changes into the corpus albicans. Corpus luteum changes into the corpus albicans. Now what happens that when corpus luteum changes into corpus albicans, now what happens when corpus luteum changes into corpus albumin, changes into the corpus albicans, what will happen that corpus albicans before it is producing progesterone and estrogen. After the change, it will not remove progesterone and estrogen. So now it is not removing, stimulating progesterone and estrogen. That's why uterus will shave. The lining of uterus, endometrium will shave. It will break and shake out, and there will be the new beginning of a new menstruation cycle and a new chance for the fertilization. So it is how it ends. Hope it will be clear. If you have any question regarding this or anything, you can write in the comment section. Thank you.